Just the other day, I ended up covering some pirate software drama involving someone who parodied pirate software named I'm Pheetus, and they did this parody on Twitch. And what seemed to be in result of this impression parody, they ended up getting banned off of Twitch, or a suspension, a 7-day suspension. Now, we didn't have any concrete information pertaining to the exact reasoning for this Twitch suspension, but we finally do. I just had the opportunity to interview I'm Pheetus and chat more about and get some more in-depth details in regard to his suspension, and really just get more details on the entire situation altogether from his point of view. I'm Pheetus has also provided some messages showing screenshots from when he interacted with Khronos, some other messages, so those will pop up on the screen when they're relevant during the interview. And also, I highly recommend you stick around to the end because I have some important pieces to add at the end just in regard to the interview as a whole. End of the day, it's just kind of a reflection on it, so if you're not interested in that, you don't gotta stick around till then. I'll leave timestamps for when the interview starts and ends. But of course, right before we jump into this, if you're new here, consider subbing. I know you're probably just gonna see my video show up in your algorithm regardless if you subbed or not. It is admittedly a very selfish thing, but it makes me happy and my little monkey brain just lights up when I see the number go up. So it would help motivate me in making more videos, and if you want to get this out in front of more people, leave it a like. If you do that, perchance a hype helps boost it even further in the algorithm. And regardless of if you do either of those things, thank you for watching. Do you know yourself what exactly got you banned now? Like from
Yeah,
chatting with them?
so
Okay.
I can confirm 100% that the 7-day suspension that I received was a result of the pirate software bit. Why don't we just start from like day
Yeah.
one? So I was invited to this Rust server, which is a Rust roleplay server, and I thought to myself, it would be a little cool and interesting to try to make a little more than just some normal vanilla Rust. I thought it would be cool to do a bit of a role play character, and I'm known for that in the past. Like I've been doing this since I was in junior high. I just have a weird way of doing voice impressions and
Sure.
zany little characters of people. I mean, it's all in, good nature. It's not to be sinister or disrespectful or defamatory or anything. So I just thought, this might be a funny idea. For whatever reason, I don't know how this even started. I'm genuinely struggling to remember the first time I did it. I think pirate software came up in conversation in my stream chat one night. And I don't know how or why, but I just did like a voice impression of him, like, yeah, I used to work at Blizzard for over 6 years. That's right. That's right. Yeah, and people were like, oh my God, that's so funny. So I joined the server and I'm thinking to myself, wouldn't it be funny if I played as if I was pirate software, and not in a mean way where I'm actually trying to impersonate him, like fool people that I'm actually him, but in a way that's blatantly obvious that it's me and I'm just doing like this silly role play character around the themes of that whole kind of crazy WoW episode, using just quotes like the
Well,
Blizzard stuff and his mage and his ferrets, like stuff like that he's publicly known for.
and it absolutely was. Like, and I mentioned this in the video that I've already made kind of chatting about it, but like it was like the holy trinity of the like the caricature of pirate. Just like I used to work at Blizzard, the ferrets and yeah. Like
Yeah,
you
well, I
just
mean,
the inflections.
absolutely. I mean, I've been streaming for 8 years and I'm a grown man. Like, I definitely know the difference. I know where the line is drawn between, like a comedic impression versus defamatory impersonation. Like, it's not like I was using his voice and his name and his likeness to go around, using racial slurs, for example, like something like that would actually do severe
It would
damage to
actually
his
be
reputation.
defamatory. This is stuff
Yeah,
that we've known
exactly.
about for a while. It is just a reiteration of the goofy shit that did go down. Like,
Yeah, it's just memes, bro. Like it seemed pretty harmless to me. I mean, after a day or two of it, somebody came into my Discord, like a random viewer came into my Discord and posted a bunch of discussion that apparently was going on in his Discord, claiming he's wondering why people were going into his chat, asking him why he wasn't streaming Rust, just stuff like that. He made a few comments regarding it, claiming that the Rust section is unhinged, and I don't know. It's kind of common. I don't know why people talk so badly about the Rust section. We got a lot of good people there, but moving forward,
yeah.
it made very clear that okay, I'm kind of on his radar at this point. So I held off. I held off for the following day, and his mod came into my chat, into my Discord rather, and posted in clear writing. I think I sent you a screenshot of the message. In fact, he
Yeah.
said very clearly that Pirate was aware of the bid I was doing and he wasn't bothered by it. And outside, I think the wording he used specifically, it was like something along the lines of outside of toxic chat hoppers trying to manufacture drama, there was
Well,
no issue.
yes, and in particular, the thing I found interesting, I've had some back and forth with Kronos in the past, yada yada. not relevant, but what I found interesting is that it seemed like he was being respectful to both sides, which I hadn't seen before. But he was calling out the fact that it was also, he implied it. He didn't say outright that, you know, Pirates fans were being a bit intense too, but he said something along the lines of people, you know, this is not Pheetus targeting Pirate in some malicious way, which means like he was
Yeah,
looking at both sides of it, which I found like, okay, he's being really level headed about that. That made sense.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I read the comment, I was like, cool, because in the past, I mean, I am known for silly parodies. I'm not known for being like a serious type, sit and game. Like I'm just
Brother, your
there
profile
being
picture
silly.
is enough to
Yeah,
that.
like
Yeah.
I'm just being silly, being goofy, making jokes.
Yeah.
I've spoken out countless times. I mean, long before I did this parody, during and after these bits, I've spoken out constantly about people that come in. They're like, "Oh, that pirate software guy's a piece of shit," or blah blah blah. I hate pirate software. I don't personally like. I don't agree that people should be hated based upon a mistake they make in a video game. Personally, I know there's more to it than that, but I mean, it seems to all stem from that WoW already does. And I mean, I've popped into his stream once and twice. He seems like a nice guy, man. Like I think I know how I'd feel if I was being treated like that. So that's why when I did the bit, I always erred on the side of caution. I was never trying to be disrespectful to him. And I even went as far as to reach out to Khronos directly. Like I messaged his mod and saying, hey man, just so we're clear, like I have absolutely no ill intention towards Pirate. I think he's a cool guy. I, respect his charity efforts. I know he's a smart guy, so I can't personally take credit at working at Blizzard. So I wasn't trying to disrespect the guy. I just thought it was a funny bit. I figured that he'd hear my voice impression and be like, wow, that's kind of funny. And when I hear it in clips, I don't even think it sounds like him personally. Like I saw some of the clips and listened to them. I'm like, man, I don't even sound a bit like him. So
I do the voice as a
the
joke
guys
too.
are the
People
yeah,
just find it like if you get close enough, it's great. And I think really it's just more so like the PNG with your lips thrown on top is just so it just was so funny.
yeah, like just a little cardboard cutout type
Yeah, yeah.
bit, right? Like it was very clearly implied to be satire. Like that's the point. And again, I said that with total clear intent from the start, from the finish, especially after I received that message from Cronus. I was assuming that everything was cool and understood to be in good nature. So I was like, cool, Pirate's a champ for taking it like that. I appreciate that. We can move forward with the bit. It's all good. So, and then bang, I'm hit with a ban 24 hours later, which came completely out of the blue.
I do want to just really jump in. I find it interesting. So I'm like, at this point, I'm like an archivist of the pirate software stuff. I covered like head to toe everything that had happened after the OnlyFans thing. There was a big blow up
Mhm.
later on. And it's really interesting to hear you talk about it because, I mean, there is a degree of it where I was thinking, based on your response, that maybe you were kind of responding the way that you were just out of respect for you wanted to get back to streaming and you were kind of just like, you know, covering all your bases and being like, quote unquote, like squeaky clean about it. But like hearing you chat about it, it's very clear that you are much more you're out of the drama space by a large margin. And I'm just like
Oh,
speaking to like,
completely, man.
I'm just speaking to like the
Completely.
honesty of your character. It's very clear that you don't know the length of it. A lot of people don't like him because of it's become a pattern of behavior. And that doesn't mean that I think that I'm with you in the same boat. I think it's really stupid at this point that anyone's going in and giving him shit for what he's done in the past. Like we've moved on. It's done. It's over. It's interesting for me to hear you talking about it because it's very clear you're just out of the loop with it. And for me that just it's much more clear that you do have a respect for him that people might have thought that you're being like disingenuous about for the sake of yourself.
No, absolutely not. I mean, I've been streaming for almost 9 years, man. I don't have a single issue with any creator. I've never
Right.
had a single issue with any creator. I go far out of my way to avoid drama. I keep my head down. I stream solo Rust primarily, so there's not exactly a lot of degree of interaction with other creators doing that.
Yeah,
So
Waylon
I'm
keeps his
not.
nose clean. Like,
Yeah,
that's the only one that comes to
exactly.
mind, you know?
I mean, this whole thing is blown up beyond proportion, and I sincerely feel like this could have been easily solved if Pirate himself messaged me, or if he wasn't comfortable maybe forwarding something for Kronos to message me, or if Twitch themselves alternatively
Just communication.
giving me a ban. Yeah, just send me a message, guys. Like, I've never if I had a history or a track record thereof of harassment, past incidences where someone's reported me for malicious behavior or otherwise anything, then I totally understand hitting me with a 7-day suspension like that.
Sure.
But even everyone I spoke to, staff included, we were all kind of just very surprised by it. So the fact that I lost my VODs, I lost that evidence where I could submit sort of those little speeches that I gave after and before the little impression, like, hey guys, this is just intended as comedy. I'm not trying to be disrespectful here. If it just basically direct communication goes a long ways. I think this whole scenario could have been avoided. I mean, staff have spent a lot of time on this. I've obviously lost a huge amount of momentum on what was probably one of the best weeks of my career. Pirates likely, if I was to guess, and not on direction of myself or my community, or but I'm
Right.
certain, it's the internet. People are probably in there what, fuck you, why'd you get this guy banned, yada yada yada. All this could have been avoided with just a simple direct message. So I'm hoping that maybe moving forward, Twitch considers doing that in future with certain scenarios like this. Because yeah, just a simple conversation or direct message or anything, it would have resolved this in 2 minutes.
What I want to cut into that too, like the core of kind of that point there. So the main thing is like the two schools of thought I'm seeing are people are assuming that it's either, or the two arguments I'm making are either A, they saw this as harassment, or it was something else that was happening during the event, and they did it on their own, volition. They made that choice, Twitch themselves, to give out that suspension to you, versus what other people are suspecting, just because Pirate's involved and given his history, that he had a hand in getting that suspension to actually happen. Because he had talked about previously about you being an ambassador at Twitch and how that was kind of screwed up, like in the Discord messages. So are you able to say definitively if it was Twitch acting on their own accord based on, what they had seen? Or did Pirate have a hand in getting you suspended?
Yeah, no, I totally understand the question. You basically, without saying so, you want to ask me whether I know with certainty if Pirate Software specifically was the one that made the report and whatnot. I think you made a good point. So I can answer that question and say no. I was never given that information of who specifically or where specifically the report came from. I can answer and say that the reason I was banned was the Pirate Software bit. But yeah, I mean, I'd like to believe that maybe Pirate didn't. I mean, I made every point I could to ensure or at least cover my ass that I didn't have any malicious intent towards it. Like the whole comedic act was simply a comedic act. And yeah, I mean, maybe he made mentions of his in his Discord, but I don't know, man. He's a pretty big creator. I'd like to believe that he didn't have a hand in it. My guess is after 8 years of streaming Rust, I've accumulated a few weirdos on Twitch as well. I'm sure
Mhm.
he gets some as well. And maybe if they caught wind of the quote unquote drama or saw what was going on, maybe they reported even, on their own. So yeah, I would like to believe that Pirate didn't have any any hand in it. I would say that. And I do truly believe that it was probably done by just some random community members on the internet.
A
I
thousand
would like
percent.
to believe that he did not brigade his community against me.
That
That's for
is
sure.
truly like that seems to be the most likely thing in my opinion too, just because that's how they were kind of chatting with him in response. And realistically, like there are a lot of people that will come to me about the pirate stuff because I've covered him in the past, and I didn't know even about you doing the bit, like the parody of it, until the suspension had happened, or I think it was maybe like shortly before. And so like
Mhm.
to me, like what that's telling me is that it really wasn't a very like this wasn't a blown up thing, but after the suspension happened, became a big deal. So if I had to suspect, Pirate, had a grievance with how he was, being portrayed, or like he felt like it was being like something that was more personal to him as opposed to doing a parody of the character and whatnot. But it does seem more like he has a very loyal core audience that has kind of remained. So it would make sense. Even one of them said that they were reporting you in regard to it. So I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised if that got flagged in response to that. And again, like my biggest reason that I even wanted to focus on that and to know for sure is because I talked about it in the previous video, but I think it is important to not give him shit and not give any reason to the people that are going to go after him and hop in his chats and say shit to say shit. I don't want to give them any fodder that, one way or the other, I don't want those people doing that to him, but I don't want it to be a big thing as like, oh, he's being a piece of shit. He got this dude, suspended. Like he had a hand in it directly. It's not fair to act like that or to give more
Yeah,
credit to it if
absolutely.
it's not true.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, again, I personally, I don't think there's anything wrong with the guy. I respect, his intelligence. I think he's a cool guy. He does a lot of stuff for charity too. He's a gamer, man. Like we all make mistakes gaming. I've had a gamer ego at one point. I'm sure you have too. We all make mistakes.
Right.
That's not a reason to hate someone. Secondly, I've said this consistently throughout my career. Like anyone that's going to spend their free time going around on the internet or anywhere rather just saying mean things about people, it's just a complete and total waste of energy. You can put that towards something positive. So even after the suspension, man, I got no beef with Pirate. I never did. It sucks that this happened, but I have no ill will towards him before or after this, and I hope that people will kind of lay off all the BS that he gets. But I won't be doing any, down in Dire Mall. I was on my. I won't be doing any more of those kind of bits for a while,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But maybe I might be able to sneak in, But to answer your question, yes, I did used to work at Chili's. All right, 6 years. I personally like Pirate's a successful guy. I don't believe that he was truly offended by this. I thoroughly believe that, yeah, like maybe there was some rabid kind of a little mentally unhinged community members that maybe overstepped or whatever,
Yeah.
went out of their way to report me. But I personally don't think that Pirate would care. I
Yeah.
really don't. I'm sure that guy's got quote unquote bigger fish to fry. I mean, he's doing really well. He seems like a busy guy. I don't think he would care that much.
Correct me if I'm wrong. It sounds like the biggest issue here and the thing that seems to be the most important for you, at least like getting out to people, is that there was just a severe lack of communication in a moment that was like incredibly important for you in doing content creation, literally like, doing this for a living. So it boils down to more so that, whether it was Pirate, whether it was Khronos, whether it was Twitch, nobody was communicating and put you in the dark in a very shit situation that you had to, you got in a way lucky that, Burnt Peanut, these other people also thought that that was bullshit, and that probably helped move this process along much faster than it probably would have been.
Well, I'll say very clearly, I do sincerely believe that after this, Twitch needs to kind of look into this whole suspension and banning system because, I'm very fortunate to have numerous friends on Twitch. I mean, my partner manager is probably one of the best there is out there. She's amazing. Had I not like had the access to someone like that, I wouldn't have even known what the suspension was over. When I received the suspension, it had one word: harassment. That's it. There was no example. There was no detail. There was nothing. It just said harassment. You're suspended for 7 days. I mean, how does someone
Wow.
follow up on something like that? Like, if you're in an employment situation and you're called to rectify a mistake, how the hell are you supposed to do that if you don't even know what it's about to begin with? It's insane. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Imagine that happened to someone at the level of Pirate or Peanut, like these guys that are massive creators. Imagine their band. Like, I mean, those guys obviously have partner managers, but I'm just giving an example of how damaging this can be. And like it just leaves people in the dark. I really sincerely believe that if they put a little more thought and consideration into the system, it would be really beneficial and productive for the website. Just want to get back to streaming and, put out some funny content and make some people laugh. That's all that's important to me at this point. So
Cool. Do you have any last things? It kind of seemed like you got them out, but figured I'd check any last things to say before we like close the interview.
If anybody's interested in a run through Dire Mall later, I might be logging on. No, I'm just joking, man. Again, I have no, I have never had any ill intent towards any creator. I've been around the block for many years and long before I even used the internet. So I try to make people laugh. My intention with this bit was never to cause any issues with anybody. So yeah, I sincerely apologize it happened, and I'm sad that if I let anybody down, both on my team, like I missed the last 2 nights of that wipe, and my community members that wanted to watch the stream. So I feel like I've let a lot of people down, but I just want to make sure, just don't go into Pirate and hate on him, man. Like again, we don't know if this report came from his direction or not. So the guy gets enough shit as it is. Just leave him alone.
Now that concludes the interview and just the few kind of pieces that I wanted to look through and chat about. I firstly wanted to talk about Pheetus's knowledge of pirate software and all of the drama pertaining to it. It is very clear that he has no idea what has happened after the OnlyFans stuff. He's aware that things happened, just not what they were. I think from his perspective of people just giving him shit because he screwed up in the game makes sense, but it's also very clear that he just does not know what happened after that. Now, when I heard that, it just helped me understand to a much better degree why he was reacting to it the way that he was. If that is the only knowledge that you have about pirate software and nothing following after that, It does all just kind of seem like unnecessary hate. And I too would not understand why so many people dislike the guy. But that being said, he even mentions that he doesn't think that Pirate Software would be perturbed by his caricature of him, although he very clearly was in the messages that I showed you guys of Pirate Software, you know, chatting with his Discord about all the clips that he was seeing. And you can see those clips in my video from yesterday. I'll leave a link over in this corner here for you. But to kind of close this video off, I really do suspect that this was probably the doing of some of his viewers. More specifically, like the example I showed during the interview of him kind of responding saying it was hilarious that one of his viewers was going and reporting I'm Pheetus due to, I believe, a phallic member being displayed on screen. I think there's a line to draw here somewhere that I'm not going to be able to, where I don't necessarily think it's wrong for Pirate to think that's funny, given that they were giving a legitimate reason to report him, or at least they perceived it to be. It was clear their intention was to find any way to report I'm Pheetus for the sake of Pirate, because they felt like he was being wronged, as other people just a little bit earlier in that message chain were trying to convince Pirate to like go legal against this guy, which he also found crazy. I don't necessarily think that it's Pirate's fault that he has viewers that are going to become martyrs or do crazy shit on his behalf, but I definitely agree with I'm Pheetus saying that if there was genuinely any communication that he had between Pirate or Khronos, or that they, you know, clarified these things that Khronos, you know, surprisingly at anyone did do in the Discord, that this would not have blown up to the proportion that it did. But that's all the yap that I had for you guys in regard to another outcropping of Pirate Software drama. Maybe I'll just stick to wearing the hat in every damn video at this point, as it is the case that I am the milkman, and my milk is delicious. But that brings this video to a close. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like, consider subbing, and I'll catch you guys in the next drama. Adios. Peace. Stay frosty.